Yo, what is going on, guys? Here, my name is LexBuzzerman, and today I got for you my ultimate base guiding tutorial. What I'm basically going to run through are the do's and don'ts of building a base, what makes a base good, and how to make yourself a good base. Maybe you're not one of those guys that wants to copy every kind of base they find and wants to make one on their own. This is the guide for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go in and out showing you tips on do's and don'ts of a base. Alright guys, what we're going to start off doing is we're going to define three types of bases, which are clan wars bases, trophy push bases, that's the same kind of base, a farming base, and a hybrid base. So those are all three. A trophy push base is not meant to hold any loot, and it is meant purely to push trophies and get up there in the higher trophy counts. A hybrid base is meant to do a little bit of both farming and being able to push trophies, and a farming base is just meant to get you lots of loot. So yeah, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing basically on the trophy push base, because the farming base is pretty much really similar to all the others. So we're going to show you some do's and don'ts on your base designs, kind of base designs that look really bad. I'm going to start off by showing you probably one of the most common base designs you'll ever see that's extremely bad. And what they do is they group a bunch of things together. Let's just put some random things together. Don't put this into context. I'm just finding random things right here. These are the bases that get rated for lots of loot, and they don't know why. And you know, they'll do this, and then they'll just do something like this. They'll just put a big layer of walls around that, and those are the easiest bases to get. Everyone knows that. If you're a farmer, you know that it's extremely easy to get these kind of bases right here. Another thing that we're going to go ahead and get into is that's something you don't want to do. We're going to show you all the don'ts right now. One of the things I see really quite oftenly is someone goes ahead and they just section off their town hall, and then they do something like, you know, they do something like this. They just kind of they put whatever behind it, and then they do other compartments and things like that. You do not want to section off your town hall, guys. If you look at any great base, the town hall isn't just right there. So definitely do not section off your town hall. Another thing I see wrong is something like this. This is for farming bases in particular. This is something you do not want to do. We'll just end off right there. Let's go ahead and get that. Here we go. This looks pretty good. What they'll do is they'll put your storages all in one area, and that is extremely easy to get to, guys. All they have to do is penetrate one layer, and they're able to get to every single one of your storages. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to spread these storages out. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more effective. Okay, going on to the next thing. One thing I see really commonly also in a lot of bases, this is just for all you guys that are doing things like that, just don't do it, is I see things like this. This is pretty common. You put your mortars all in one spot, and that doesn't work, because your mortars are meant to have a big range of things. You know, it's your mortars, let's say you have, most bases are about this big. Let's say you have things this way. Your mortars can't reach that. Your mortars can't even reach this top cannon right here. So if you spread them out, maybe put a mortar right here, a mortar right here, and a mortar right here, your mortars have the radius of your whole base. So basically your whole base is covered by a splash damage. Yeah, it might be nice if those troops come in from one side. You know, your mortars may be able to get all of them, but all three mortars may be able to be activated. But you never know, they could surround the base, and that's what most likely happens when they see all these splash damage things jumbled up in one area. That goes the same for wizard towers. If you put your wizard towers right in the middle right here, all in one area, it's just not good, because your wizard towers and your mortars are potentially some of your best defenses. You're gonna want to have those babies spread out. You know, put them all the way over here. Have those babies spread out, and it's much easier. We're going to go ahead and go on over to this base right here. This is a good base, but one thing I definitely see with a lot of people, this is probably the most common flaw, and this gets you killed by any air defense unit. What they do is they put their air defenses on this outside wall right here, and what that does is that allows for any troops to come in this way and be able to take it out. So maybe some guys running max drags. Well, he can just spread probably about 15 archers right there. They'll get the job done, and then it's an easy 2-star from there. He'll be able to 2-star me extremely easy. Get into the base really easy. So try to keep your air defenses on the inside layer. It takes at least 1 layer to get to them because it's just a lot more effective. You can't have any troops come pick them off. They're actually gonna have to make a planned effort to go and attack them. Same with your wizard towers and your mortars. If you have your mortars on the edge of a base like this, it's easy to get those splash damage things. And this little red radius right here, that's where they cannot attack. So just try to be mindful of that. They're not activated then. So if you can keep these things, as you can see, like this base, it has a layer in between, so it takes a layer to get to the mortars. It takes a layer or 2 actually for this one to get to the mortars. It takes a layer to get to these mortars. It takes a layer to get to these wizard towers. These are going to be your more centralized base, and the more you get towards this, you know, this clan castle right here, the deadlier it gets. And that brings me on to my next thing, and that's when you see bases like this. A base that has the clan castle on the outside and the barbarian king on the outside. These are your absolute best defense in the game itself. I mean, it's the best, 100%. You cannot argue that your barbarian king, your clan castle, and your inferno towers, I guess if you're level 10, are your best, absolute best defense, because these things can pack a punch. I mean, if you get a troop that has a potential, like, you know, a P.E.K.K.A, it could do 200 hit points. It's 200 hit points defense, and it's really annoying to get away. So you always want to have your clan castle near the center. I'll show you my war base real quick if I can. I probably can't. Yeah, I can actually. So I'm going to show you my war base real quick, and it shows right here. Your clan castle is right there. Your barbarian king is right there. That covers the whole base. There's a layer in between the mortars and something else, and that's pretty much it. So that's most of the do's and don'ts I can really think about. One thing I don't like in bases are people who really tend to like spiral out or things like this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you it. You know, they say they have this and then they just spiral it out and they just create layers of things like this. This is really annoying. This is really quite stupid actually. I'm gonna see if I can get this done with actually. Yep, we got it. Okay, cool. These kind of bases are not the ones you want. As you can see, there's layers. One, your town hall's off pretty bad, but then your bases like this, they're just in layers like this, one big layer. Now don't get me wrong, you can do one big layer, but don't do it for your whole base, because that's just so easy to get into. It's not compartmented off. They can get multiple defenses at one time, and it's a cluster. It's not something you don't want. So that's pretty much the don'ts you don't want to do. Actually, there's one more thing. There's one more thing to a base that you do not want to have, and it's called a T-junction. And a T-junction is where, let me just show you real quick. This should be a T-junction right here. Yeah, this is a T-junction. Is where your base. Now I know this is kind of hard sometimes to prevent, but it does happen, and all you have to do is do a simple adjustment. You should be able to get it pretty easily. A T-junction is where basically this whole row right here is connected. What this allows for your wall breakers, any wall breakers attacking, they can just go for this middle one and they'll be able to get into both these sides. One thing you might want to consider doing is going ahead and deleting that, pushing these up just one, deleting that row right there, and just doing something like this right here, and now you no longer have a T-junction. A T-junction is where it's all consecutive. As you can see, when I do select row, not that row, select row and remove it, obviously, it's just not in a complete. There's a little bump right there, and that makes it, you know, these wall breakers will come for right here. They're not going to come for that one right there. That's called breaking a T-junction. If you look at something like this, you know, some bases do, some bases don't. They don't have any T-junctions. Now this is a T-junction right here. It's pretty much inevitable on your core, you're gonna have a T-junction. Some don't. Pink Palace Tesla Theme Park never did, and it was one of the best bases of all time. But as you can see, you know, these things are sectioned off. There's a section. This base really isn't sectioned off like pretty. It's not like super sectioned off. So it's harder to get to this base with wall breakers. I'm gonna go show you my war base, and we'll just go down this list of guys in my clan. We'll show you which ones are good. As you can see right there, that's not a T-junction. If we would have moved that level 7 up wall, level 7 wall up one, that would have been a T-junction. There's no T-junctions here. That's a really good base. It's probably hard to get into. We're gonna try to find one that does have one. Here's one that does. This is it right here. This is what I'm talking about. See these straight walls right here? Everything like this. This is bad base building right here. I'm sorry, Cole Newton 69, but you got a bad base going on the outside. He probably gets wall breakered a lot, and the wall breakers will go for these little T-junctions, and they'll be able to get in all 3 of these areas. So you don't want a square basically as your base. You want something like this where it's like all staggered off. It's staggered. It's not any T-junctions at all. That's actually a really good base. B Beatty, good job. I think I'm next actually. Yeah, no. This is you know, he's trying to prevent this right here. Don't use these extra walls. That's not very good. You know, there's things like that you don't want in your base. What you want is you want one real, just kind of solid one base. We're gonna hope that Liam is really good right here. It's one just solid base, solid core base with the you know, your drills and things right around that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on into the second part, which is what you want to do when you want to build a base. What you're going to want to look for, the things you're going to want to do to make a good base. So yeah, let's go. Alright guys, so we're going to go over what you're going to want to do to make a good base, the things that you do want to do, and what makes a good base. So I told you not staggering your things out. We're going to talk about trap placement, troop placement, or your defense placement, and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into removal and all. So usually, typically, for trophy push bases, you're gonna have things like this. You're gonna have something like, you know, a mortar, something like that. Maybe a mortar, sometimes not. You're gonna have your clan castle, your barb king, and maybe your dark elixir, and that makes one quick square. Let's go square that off, and yeah, that's pretty much what you're gonna see. You're not gonna see like a mortar or anything. I know I said that. And then you're gonna have your mortars relative like this to then lead into your wizards, things like that. Now this is probably just a totally flawed base, but we're going ahead and showing you something like that. You know, your wizard towers are gonna be something to a relative extent of something like this, your whole base. What we're trying to do is we're trying to achieve a triangle, and that's called a deadly triangle. And what it is from Town Halls 8 and below, or Town Halls 9 and up, is going to be a quad or a 4-way. It's basically having your wizard towers reached out proportionally in a triangular motion. Same with your mortars. So as you can see, there's 2 triangles going on right here. We're gonna go ahead and see what we can do right here. See what we can do with this little base. Something like this. This is usually what works out pretty well, to be honest, though. Things like this, you know, you have your these are pretty much your 3 main defenses: your air defense, your mortars, and your wizard towers. Those are going to be the ones that get you lots of damage and do the most amount of damage. Your air defenses definitely need to be spread out the most. Maybe put your air defenses with your mortars right here. Put a mortar right there, a mortar right there, and then I guess put like an air defense like that, something like that. I guess that can work. You know, kind of spread that out. We're gonna go ahead and see what we can do with this base. It's probably not gonna be a very good base, but hey, we're trying something new, get things done. Things like this, you know, as you can see, it's all in a triangular motion, not really with the air defenses, but we can show you a flaw. If this freaking wall would go, there we go. All right, oh my god, There we go. All right, there's a T-junction right there. That's a total T-junction. That's like a quad T-junction. It's all right. You're gonna have that near the core quite frequently, so don't freak out. Don't freak out. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on into what this little part right here. This part is your air defense, and you could basically put in a lot of dragons and they'd get out these air defenses really quick. So we're gonna go ahead and put this like up here somewhere, something like that. We're not gonna make a totally great base. We're just showing you examples of bases that are going to look good. The next thing you're going to want to put in are your Teslas. So we're going in order of what things you're going to want to put in first to last. And what these Teslas do are these are going to be probably your most damaging unit, because I think this does like 72 damage. What this does is you want to keep them toward the core of your base. I personally don't like when people put their hidden Teslas on the outside, just for the fact that they're just so deadly. And if you can protect them well, if you can get them in the core and you can get them all to where they're kind of in the same area, this is one of those things that you want in the same area. Maybe you can put them all three, something. I'm not trying to say put them all right there, but you know, put them all like this, kind of like that. Let's just go ahead, go off on a limb and say something like that, because if a troop comes down here, they're gonna get lit up by probably about 210 damage per second alone on these hidden Teslas. So you know, things like putting them all the way out here, that's alright, but I think they're more effective when they're closer together, because it's just so deadly. Now this is just a total makeshift base, so please don't put that against me and saying you're a terrible base maker. No, I'm just trying to show you some concepts on what makes a good base good. We're gonna go ahead and show you what mine looks like, and as you can see, mine's a little bit different. Your Teslas are on the outside. What I do like is when they're really close and compact. I don't like them on the first row either, just for the fact that, you know, they're really easy to attack. I'm going to show you their hit points. Their hit points are like 770, which it gets like trumped compared to this, pretty much. They're harder, but they get 75 damage, which is pretty freaking amazing. I think these guys are at like 65, and that's your second highest thing. So these are your highest thing by far. They'll go up to 87 right there, and they're just crazy how good they are. You need to keep them more towards the core of your base. That's what makes this base not 100% great, because it's not at the core. The core, the better at the core, the more towards the core, the better. That's what I recommend for your Teslas. Definitely, what you're going to want to do is we're going to call this sectioning off, and this is basically where you have a few things at a time being sectioned off. And what makes that so good is that it just makes it harder for the troops. You know, we have a section of 2 right here, a section of 5 right here, a section of 5, a section of 2. So they can't get into one layer at one time, just go off. It's going to take a little bit to get them. I like to show this base right here because it does it a little bit better of a job showing. I think this is a little bit better of a base. As you can see, you know, there's sections right here. Look at these sections. This is actually a perfectly balanced base because there's total symmetry throughout it. And we're going to go ahead and get into that, which is symmetry. And symmetry is basically replicating on both sides of the base. So if one thing happens on one side, it's the exact same thing that happens on the other. Here's your Teslas more towards the core. That's really, really deadly. I didn't get a 2-star on this base ever, really. It's really hard to 2-star this base just for the fact that when they come in, they have to meet those Teslas. Symmetry, let's get on into that. And that's basically what happens, you know, over here is going to happen over here. And that's really, really good for a base, just for the fact that it's equally as difficult to attack from every side. You know, if you have all your wizard towers and your mortars all on this left side, it's really, really packed. People are just going to send in their troops from this way right here, and you know, it doesn't matter how strong this is. They're going to get to this town hall really easy from this side. So if you have some symmetry going on, you know, you have your little triangle going on, you have your triangle of hidden Teslas, and then you have your triangle of air defenses. It's actually pretty hard to to go away with this guy, because you can't, if you attack from here, you're going to get the same amount of damage as you'd attack from right here. So symmetry is really key in a base, because it leads to not having to worry about anything like that. We're going to talk about a discussion topic real quick on some kind of an opinionative ordeal on what people like and what people don't like. I gotta ask you, do you guys like your outside things to be close to the walls or away to the walls? Because if it's more away, the radius is harder to deploy your troops and have them being successful, but the closer it is, your defenses are more involved. So I'm not sure, you know, personally I don't care either way. They work pretty fine. It's alright for me. One thing we're gonna definitely show you that's on a really good base, particularly farming and hybrid, is when your wizard towers are protecting at least 2 storages. That's what you always kind of want to see. This guy's actually protecting 3. 1, 2, 3. This guy's protecting 2 storages right here. So if your wizard tower is covering at least 2 storages fully, you know you're doing something right. So try to keep these 2, something like this. Always have a wizard tower protecting 2 storages and you'll be golden. One thing we're going to definitely talk about right now is we're going to talk about trap placement, and that's definitely required because of all the great army troops. The better you can do trap placement, the more likely you're going to have to succeed. Now some guys, what I see them do is, you know, they have their base and then they have a whole section dedicated just for their traps, and I have to say this is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Is, you know, they'll have a section, if you know what I mean, they'll have a section like this with nothing but all their traps in one area. Like they think a guy is just going to go ahead and go out of his way, you know, all the way from the loot and go into this section and just get lit up. What you're going to want to do, and this is why I like this base so much, is strategically place your spring traps, everything like that, all around the base. So as you can see, what this base does really well with is it does well with its traps, because where it loses in walls, it makes up for traps. So see this little area right here, this could be a wall area. This little area right over here where the 2 spring traps are could be a wall area. But the maker of this decided to take out those walls so you can put these traps right here, because I think the traps are going to be more deadly. These guys are going to come in. You know, these hogs are going to come in, they're going to hit that giant bomb, and they're totally going to get destroyed. The more you can place traps around your base, the way better. We're going to go show you a quick tactic of luring troops out to get them to really using traps quite well. So we're going to go ahead and show you this. So this could be a branch of your base. Say this is the last edge. We're going to try to show you. You know, you have it nice and sectioned off. It's looking real good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It looks like pretty good, but you don't have any traps to place. What I recommend doing is taking one away. Just take one wall away and replace that with a spring trap. What that does is, especially putting a cannon or any defense, always put wherever you put a spring trap or something, put a defense near it. Or something like a cannon, archer tower, maybe not a mortar or wizard tower, but puts it like something like this. If you need to use more, sorry guys, I'm yawning like crazy. If you guys need to use more walls on something else, just take a wall out here and there and put it by a cannon. What that will do is that will cause the giants to go to the defensive minded things, and they'll walk right into this. So that's why you see a lot of bases with that coming out, you know, the edges coming out. We'll try to find a base real quick to show you one that it's called luring or funneling them into that. Funneling is a great strategy, and let's see if we can go ahead and find something like that. So this guy, he kind of has the funneling going on down here. As you guys can see, these guys are going to come up here, but they're going to be met by giant bombs. Funneling into a certain area. It's getting troops to go into a certain area, so they just end up exploding. This is definitely not the base you want to look at. Here's a prime example right here. So as you can see right here, someone's going to send their giants in. This giant's going to go for the cannon, but he's going to be met by a bomb, 2 spring traps, and a giant bomb. So he's going to be screwed. That's basically a dead giant, and that's a total success. Utilizing these traps right here. You know, these things are going to go for all these you know, these archer towers, these cannons, these archer towers right there, and they're going to be met and they're going to be taken out fairly quickly. So that's called trap placement, you know, just leaving a little place to funnel in and then for them to come in and get it. Really, really easy, really effective strategy. It's been around for a while, but it's still very, very good. We're going to tell you what you're going to want to do when you're upgrading troops or upgrading things at one time. Don't be upgrading 3 wizard towers at one time just for the fact that they're going to get taken out. It's not going to be good because a lot of people, especially with air defenses, if you're trying to hold a lot of loot and you're upgrading 2 air defenses at one time, that's only leaves for, like, you know, most. That only leaves for an air defense left, and pretty much everything can get it past 1 air defense. So don't be upgrading the same thing all at once. You know, don't upgrade 2 mortars at once. Don't upgrade 2 wizards at once. Don't upgrade 2 air defenses at once. Upgrade them one at a time, and then maybe upgrade a Tesla or something like that. Try to keep that in bound. So one thing you'll see is you cannot push trophies if you have a lot of loot, because you're a target, you're really easy to get to, and it's just crazy how much it's easy to lose trophies. So now we have our town hall on the outside. You guys might want to know what that is. That's for a farming base in particular. So yeah, we went over basically the things you want to do: sectioning off, trapping, troop placement, everything like that. That's pretty much it. We got one more thing, and we have to say to spread out your barracks and spread out your gold mines. What this does is it makes them place their troops farther away, and this all depends on what you want to do. If you want them to, if they're gonna snipe these, then it's all right. Just go ahead and move them closer. Move them closer, and they'll have a more difficult time. But if they're not, if you don't see many snipers, go ahead and move them out. Spread this base out, make it way harder to get to than it really is, and the bigger the base the better, because it's harder and harder and harder to get in. One thing I definitely do note for you guys is to really focus on upgrading the walls first, because the better your walls are, the easier it is to go about your daily view. Try to keep a bigger base. As you can see, this base is huge, and the bigger the base, the more intimidating. If you ever see something like I think it's these 2 lizards, what they do is they puff up and they make themselves look really big so predators won't attack them. The bigger you can look, these predators are going to be going for your loot, are going to be intimidated and not want to go there. There's probably bases right here. I decided to go with this base because it was really big and really poofy. So try to make your base as big as possible while keeping the integrity of sectioning off, triangulating your splash damage troops and air defenses and things like that. So I'm trying to get at is make your base really big and really inflated. That's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to thank you all for watching. If you got some good tips out of this, I definitely would appreciate you leaving a comment section. A comment down below. If you're still with me, I would like for you guys to tell me one thing. Where in the where's going to be, but let's go with this. This is the comment section word of the day. What thing in the laboratory haven't I upgraded yet? Go ahead and get your mind around that. Maybe watch a few videos in the past, but what troop haven't I upgraded yet? And I despise Haley. That's all I'm gonna give you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time, and later.